Hello everyone, Weather Jamaica here. Welcome to this updated video on the weather across Jamaica and the rest of the Caribbean. It is Monday evening, March 17, 2025. Now before we jump into it, please ensure that you guys like the video. I'd really appreciate it if you guys get this video up to 100 likes. If you don't know by now, that's how the YouTube algorithm works. We all like the video and then the YouTube algorithm pushes the video out to more persons who are in the path of these tropical systems so that we can keep everyone safe, especially during the peak months of Atlantic hurricane season, that's August through to October. Share this video with your friends, your co-workers, your relatives, and even your church brethren, and subscribe if you haven't yet done so. Please ensure that you all utilize the progress bar that's located at the bottom of the video, as well as the timestamps that are located not only in the comment section but the video description, so that we can skip to the points in the video that we want to see the most in order to save time, because we know that the videos over here with the Jamaica can be very long. Leave a comment down below letting me know what did that be like in your ear recently. Also, feel free to ask any weather related question that you might have about the future of the weather in your specific area. Alright, so we're going to have to look at the 7-day graphical tropical weather outlook that came out today at around 12:44 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time, which is actually what? Yeah, that's about right. Around our time, Eastern Daylight Time. That's the time that it came out today from the U.S. National Hurricane Center. And we usually look at these around June to November, so it's a bit shocking. We have to be looking at it in March, but they basically said that regarding this system, a non-tropical area of low pressure located about 700 miles northeast of the northern Leeward Islands is producing gale force winds and a large area of disorganized showers and thunderstorms. Additional development of this low is not expected as it moves northward to northwestward into an area of strong upper level wind and dry air tonight and Tuesday. Additional information on this system can be found in high seas forecast issued by the National Weather Service. No additional special tropical weather outlooks are scheduled for the system unless conditions warrant. Regularly scheduled tropical weather outlooks will resume on May 15, 2025, and special tropical weather outlooks will be issued as necessary during the remainder of the off-season. So we see that they've given the system a 10% chance of cyclone formation within the next 48 hours as well as the next 7 days. And if we take a look back at the infrared satellite imagery right here, just for reference, we have Jamaica right here, we have Hispaniola right here, Puerto Rico, and the Leeward Islands. And this is the system right here. Look at it, it's big right there and spinning away. And what the Hurricane Center says that it's gonna do is push towards the north, then towards the northwest, and basically be torn apart by some amount of upper level wind shear coming in from the west as usual. So this is basically what they've stated as a special tropical weather outlook. So they don't normally do these, but they had to highlight it because it looked very reminiscent of something tropical. It's spinning away, it's right there, but we don't see a lot of convection around its center of circulation. We can definitely see the spin associated with the system somewhere in here, but we don't see that deep convection around it as what we'd normally see regarding these usual tropical depression storms or hurricanes at all, which is why they basically given it a 10% chance. And especially considering that it's about to be ripped apart by all of the upper level wind shear coming in, definitely not gonna be anything worth looking at. If we take a look at what the next 7 days have in store for us according to the latest Euro and GFS supercomputer model runs, as usual we're gonna keep our eyes focused on the timestamp right here as we go out to the next 168 hours, as well as keeping our eyes on Jamaica right here as we look for all of this that we see on the key on the right. That's the reds, the oranges, the yellows, and the greens that represents inches of rainfall. So let's see what's going to be taking place. As we head into Tuesday morning, what do we see on the GE Euro right here? We see the moisture associated with the frontal system extending from the waters to the east of the US all the way down into portion of the southern Bahamas, eastern Cuba, and Jamaica. So we're definitely going to be starting to get in on the rainfall associated with this frontal system. More from northeasterly flow starting to come in. And we see the moisture extends all the way down into portion of Central America. And then Tuesday afternoon, we see rainfall across sections of some southern and eastern parishes. Let us match that latest Euro to the latest GFS. Let's see if we have some amount of consensus. Tuesday morning, we see the moisture into portion of eastern Cuba, the southern Bahamas, Jamaica, especially the north coast of Jamaica, all the way into Central America. And then Tuesday afternoon, we see that rainfall across sections of some central and eastern parishes. Very interesting. Then, just like what we've been highlighting, as soon as Tuesday is over, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, not really seeing much of anything. All we're seeing is whites, but it's around Saturday we start to get back into some amount of moisture. Look at this. This is 18Z on Saturday, which is actually 1 p.m. on Saturday, March 22, and we see the greens represent some isolated shores into sections of central and eastern parishes. And just like what the Euro was showing, the GFS is showing as well. Look at the abundance of whites all across the island of Jamaica, even as we head into Saturday. We're going to be stopping it at 18Z on Saturday, just like what the Euro was showing. We start to see the moisture coming in to the waters to the southeast of us, but not on land yet like what the Euro was showing. Very interesting. We have some contrast there. As we head into Sunday morning, what do we see? Maybe some isolated shores to the west of us, to the east of us. And then by the end of the day on Sunday, some isolated shores to the west of us. Then we're going to be stopping it right here at the end of the 168 hours. So this is valid for Monday morning, 7 a.m. and we see the moisture across eastern parishes. We also see moisture associated with a possible frontal system extending from the northern Gulf all the way up into portion of the United States. Let us see what the GFS is showing. Sunday morning, rainfall to our west, rainfall across the east. Then Sunday afternoon, rainfall across western parishes. Then we're going to be stopping it right here as well. Monday, March 24, and we can clearly see the similarities. Some isolated shores should be plaguing eastern Jamaica, and we also see the moisture extending from the northern Gulf all the way up into the United States, just like what the Euro was showing. Very interesting forecasts indeed. It's going to be interesting to see how it all plays out. Either way, in terms of the total accumulated precipitation from the Euro and the GFS models right here, we know that both of these maps are showing all the rainfall that's expected from now up until Monday, March 24. And we know the most in the way of rainfall is represented by what we see here on the key on the right. We're talking about the dark reds into purples and pinks. That represents anywhere from 2 to 5 inches of rainfall, while the greens into the yellows into the oranges and reds, that represents anywhere from 0.1 of an inch all the way up to 1 inch or more of rainfall. And we can clearly see that the most rainfall over the next 7 days should be where the dark reds and the purples and the pinks. So we're talking about areas such as Guatemala, Belize, Honduras, northwestern Honduras at that, eastern Nicaragua, Costa Rica, Panama. We also see that rainfall that's going to be affecting portions of Colombia, sections of Venezuela in the mix as well. And clearly, both the Euro and the GFS models are adamant that those areas are going to be picking up the most rainfall. So those areas could definitely get in on some amount of isolated flash flooding for sure. But it's the greens into the yellows, oranges, and reds, representing anywhere from 0.1 of an inch all the way up to 1 inch of rainfall that's going to be plaguing sections of Cuba, the Cayman Islands, Jamaica, Haiti, the Bahamas, the Dominican Republic, Puerto Rico, the US and British Virgin Islands, St. Martin, St. Kitts and Nevis, sections of Anguilla, Antigua and Barbuda, Guadeloupe, Dominica, Martinique, St. Lucia, St. Vincent and the Grenadines, Grenada, Barbados, Trinidad and Tobago, sections of Guyana, Suriname, French Guyana. And we clearly see that both the Euro and the GFS models are in consensus with that, even portion of the ABC Islands getting in on the mix. You know, they're in consensus like this, the chances for it to happen are very much higher. And if we take a look at the total accumulated precipitation forecast for the next 7 days, both maps here from the Euro and the GFS are adamant that the most rainfall over the next 7 days should be all across the island, stretching from the east to the west. We see the blues into the slight greens that represents anywhere from a millimeter of rainfall all the way up to maybe 20 millimeters of rainfall. And we see it also on the GFS, not so much greens but blues definitely. And we know that most of this rainfall is going to be plaguing the island, especially during the afternoon hours. And whatever happens, I'll definitely be here to keep you posted with what occurs. Taking a look at the surface map of the Atlantic for this evening, we can see the area of low pressure right here to the northeast of the Leeward Islands that the hurricane center has highlighted, and the broken orange lines right here extending into portion of the Leeward Islands associated with the trough. We also see the blue spike line right here extending from the waters to the east of the west down into portion of the Bahamas, Cuba, and the Western Caribbean associated with the cold front. And we see the ridges of high pressure to the north that we know are responsible for sending all of the easterly trade winds across the main development region into the Caribbean. If we take a look at the visible satellite images of the Atlantic before we lost the sunlight, we can make out all of these entities even better. The clouds associated with the cold front right here, extending into portions of the Western Caribbean, off the east coast of the US. The clouds associated with that broad area of spin that the hurricane center has highlighted for a low chance of development, with the clouds and the troughiness extending into portions of the Eastern Caribbean. And we see the low level flow of the clouds being steered from east to west across the main development region through the Caribbean, all courtesy of the ridges of high pressure to the north. We'll be talking more about the rest of the Caribbean weather later on. Let us focus our attention on the prediction that was made in yesterday's video about the weather across Jamaica for today, Monday, March 17, 2025. It was stated that rainfall would have been in the forecast for parts of northern Jamaica on Monday morning, also affecting sections of some southern parishes during Monday afternoon. I know northern Jamaica, we're talking about those parishes on top, like Hanover, St. James, Trelawney, St. Anne, St. Mary, Portland. While southern Jamaica, we're talking about those parishes like Westmoreland, St. Elizabeth, Manchester, Clarendon, St. Catherine, Kingston, St. Andrew, and St. Thomas. And although no post was made in the morning for anything affecting the north coast, we definitely had some clouds bring some overcast skies up there, but not much in the way for rainfall at all. But what did actually verify was the forecast for the afternoon, because at around 12:51 p.m. the visible satellite image was not only posted here on our Twitter page with the Jamaica, but it was also posted on our Instagram page with the Jamaica, on our TikTok page with the Jamaica, and on our Facebook page with the Jamaica 876. So if you have one of those social media platforms, please ensure that you follow us there, as we may post through the day that you can't afford to miss. So we can see the visible satellite image that was posted at that time, highlighting some clouds, bringing some overcast skies, if not some isolated showers, to section of some southern parishes. We're talking about sections of Westmoreland, St. Elizabeth, Manchester, Clarendon, St. Catherine, Kingston, St. Andrew, and St. Thomas at the time. And even at around 4:40 p.m., the Cuban Doppler radar imagery was posted, and it highlighted some amount of greens into the yellows that we can see here across southern parishes that we know represents moderado and fuerte, that's moderate rainfall to strong or heavy rainfall, definitely lashing portions of St. Elizabeth, Manchester, Clarendon, and St. Catherine at that time. And even if we look at the visible satellite images of Jamaica before we lost the sunlight, we can definitely see the bout of clouds across mostly southern parishes, most of these pushing off towards the southeast. Definitely had a little sprinkle in my area of St. Thomas, and even as we were losing the sunlight, we still saw that we were getting in on some clouds still affecting southern Jamaica with the overcast skies, if not the isolated shower activity. Even the infrared close-up satellite imagery right here confirming the clouds across southern Jamaica. We see the flow of the clouds pushing in from northwest to southeast, or northwest to southeast. But in terms of the infrared, we didn't see much in the way of convection. No blues, greens, yellows, oranges, reds, blacks, grays, purples. No deep convection, no sparkling white dust that represent lightning strikes, if not lightning flashes at all. And we have See Jamaica's YouTube channel right here confirming all of what was just mentioned. At around 2:28 p.m. this is the halfway tree live camera, and we can see people walking about, going about their business. We can see people in their vehicles going about their business. Definitely sunny conditions being experienced across the corporate area during the afternoon. But the accumulated precipitation for the past 24 hours from the Caribbean Institute for Meteorology and Hydrology website does indeed paint quite the picture of where we might have had the rainfall today across sections of some southern parishes, just like what was just mentioned, across Westmoreland, section of St. Elizabeth, section of Manchester, Clarendon, St. Catherine. That's where we got the rainfall for sure. And we have some comments from some of our followers on our social media platform confirming the weather in their area today. We have Active 4081 stating it is raining in South Clarendon. We also have Winston stating lovely showers in South St. Elizabeth, probably the best rains for this year. Thanks for confirming that, Winston. We have this underscore Kia underscore real stating rain and stop. We have Jelissa Furs stating it's raining in Clarendon. Even on our Twitter page, we had Fest Genius stating no, I'm experiencing right now. And another comment here stating dark with showers but no lightning and thunder. Thanks for confirming that as well, boss. Alright, so let us reload this very latest still image from the Weather Nerds website. Let's see what's happening right now. The latest still image is showing that as of 0115 UTC, which is actually 8:15 p.m. So considering that it's 8:31 p.m. right now, this just came out 16 minutes ago, and this is what we're seeing. Some clouds right here across the waters to the northwest near Hanover, St. James, and we also still have some clouds right here dotting the coastline of southern Clarendon, southern St. Catherine, Kingston, and we see that most of it is out to sea to the southwest, and to the south of us we see some clouds as well across the waters to our east, maybe even affecting portion of eastern St. Thomas. Let us see what the latest Cuban Doppler radar imagery is showing. We're reloading the latest Cuban Doppler radar imagery right now, so it should be showing what up to 9:20 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, which is actually 8:20 p.m. Jamaica time. Let's see if it goes all the way up there, unless it glitched out. Alright, looks like it glitched out at 8:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, which is actually 7:30 p.m. Jamaica time. But this was what was taking place. We saw some moisture coming in from the Cayman Islands, pushing in from the northwest, and we see that flow of the moisture pushing towards the southeast or towards the southeast into portions of Hanover. We also see that rainfall exiting the coast right here of St. Elizabeth, section of southern Clarendon, getting in on the action, and all of that pushing towards the sea. And if we take a look at the Guantanamo Bay Cuban Naval Radar imagery right here, we can make out some isolated showers to the west of Guantanamo, some moderate to some slightly heavy rainfall at that. Taking a look at the Cayman radar though, we can make out that rainfall even better that we saw on the Cuban Doppler radar. Look at the flow of the rainfall coming in from the north, northwest to the south, southeast. We definitely have some rainfall to the west of the island. And who knows, maybe if the range for this radar was wider, we could have been seeing that rainfall coming into portion of northwestern Jamaica as well. Let me know what the weather is like over there in Hanover and St. James if you reside in those areas. Taking a look at what's happening right now, according to See Jamaica's YouTube channel showing the flat bridge in St. Catherine, we can see people in their vehicles going about their business. Definitely dry conditions being experienced across the Bagwalk Gorge this evening. We can see the Rio Cobra right here definitely chilling, not in spate at all with the lack of rainfall. Taking a look at the temperatures right now, we can see about 25 degrees Celsius in Montego Bay, 26 degrees Celsius in Kingston, and by about 4 a.m. on Tuesday, temperature should dip down to about 23 degrees Celsius in both Montego Bay and Kingston. Taking a look at the temperature forecast for tomorrow. This map from the GFS is valid for 18Z on Tuesday, which is actually 1 p.m. on Tuesday, and we can see Jamaica right here embedded in some grays and some slight blues. That represents average to slightly below average temperatures, all courtesy of the winds that are going to be brought about by the cold front that's passing through, especially across sections of some northern and eastern parishes. And you know the drill, we're mainly going to be feeling those temperatures in the early morning hours. If not, you're one of those persons who are along the north coast who are going to be getting in on those strong northeasterly winds. So all of what's going to be coming off of the sea from the northeast, definitely going to be cool if you're on the north coast. For sure, definitely windy conditions expected up there, so look out for that on Tuesday. And we know the average temperature for the month of March across Jamaica is around 87.3 degrees Fahrenheit, and when that's converted to degrees Celsius, that's around 30.7 degrees Celsius. So it should be receiving anywhere from 29.7 to 30.7. It definitely could be lower than that, especially on the north coast, maybe even lower than that if you live in areas like Manchester. If we take a look at the maintenance outage advisories here from my JPS Online's Twitter page, we know that we have to highlight these just in case the temperatures are hot. Could definitely be exacerbated by the lack of power to power our fan or AC. So if you live or work in these areas, or if you have friends or relatives who live or work in these areas, let them know that a power outage is coming their way on Tuesday, March 18, 2025. And we're referring to Ferry Hill, Zion Hill, Hampy Lane, Sherwood Forest, Boston and environs from 7:45 a.m. to 6 p.m. We're also referring to Schwa Field in Trelawney from 9 a.m. to 4:30 p.m. We're also talking about Halifax Avenue, Kings Drive from 12 p.m. to 6 p.m. Juno Crescent from 10 a.m. to 5 p.m. Cassava Peace in St. Andrew from 10 a.m. to 1 p.m. And we have some tips right here to beat the heat as usual. It states here, dress down, wear lightweight clothing and use sunscreen. Check on others, including children, elderly people with medical conditions and pets. Be cool, stay indoors and make use of fans and air conditioners. Avoid alcohol and caffeine as they can make dehydration worse. Limit non-essential strenuous activity during the hottest parts of the day. And always drink lots of water throughout the day, even if you're not thirsty. And put away those sugar drinks and drink water instead. Taking a look at the dry air map, we know that the dry air is represented by what we see here on the key on the bottom. That's the yellows, the oranges, the reds, and the whites within those reds. And we can see the abundance of dry air across the entire Atlantic basin right here, especially off the coast of Africa, and the reds and whites within those reds, off the coast of the US right here, lots of dry air too. And we see a lot of moist air wherever we have the blues as well as the yellows. The yellows represents the low end of the scale in terms of dry air, and we see the moist air across the eastern Pacific as well as across the intertropical convergence. So you also see the yellows that represents the low end of the scale in terms of dry air across section of the Caribbean right here. You can see some of the moist air entrailing into the system that's out there being highlighted by the hurricane center. But regarding the Saharan dust forecast for 18 UTC on Tuesday, which is actually 1 p.m., we can clearly see that North America, the Bahamas, majority of the Caribbean, and Northern South America as well as Central America should be in the clear, because all the browns represent the Saharan dust should be across section of the Windward Island, the Southern Caribbean, Northeastern South America, Venezuela, Guyana, Suriname, French Guyana, section of the main development region including Africa. And we see that it's the low end of the scale in terms of the Saharan dust that should be across the eastern to the southeastern Caribbean, up to at least 10 on the scale. We see that the brunt of the Saharan dust should be across sections of Africa right here where we have the Sahara Desert itself. And we're glad that the brunt of it is staying all the way over there, because we know that that can cause very hazy skies, not to mention trigger some amount of respiratory illnesses in some persons, asthma, sinusitis. So we're glad that this is the forecast for 1 p.m. on Tuesday. Taking a look at the wave forecast for tomorrow, we see the light shades of blues to dark shades of blues to purples into slight pinks that represents anywhere from 0.5 for meter wave height all the way up to 2 meter wave height. On Jamaica's north coast tomorrow should be getting up to at least 1 meter from the northwest, south coast up to 0.7 of a meter wave height, and that's because of the winds that are expected. We're seeing the winds definitely turning as the day progresses. We see the winds coming in from the southeast across the eastern Caribbean, from the north across the Bahamas, more so from the northeast as the day progresses on Tuesday into portion of Jamaica. Northeasterly flow in the western Caribbean, more from easterly to a southeasterly flow across the Gulf. Very interesting. So we see the greens into the slight yellows that represent anywhere from 15 to 20 to 25 knots for sure. And if we take a look at Jamaica's actual wind forecast, wind should be starting to come in from the northeast, averaging 11 knots on the northeastern side, right here on the northwest side up to 14 knots. Now really that strong of a wind flow on the south coast but maybe out to sea on the western and far eastern ends. That's where the wind will be picking up. And we see that the upper level winds are going to be coming in from the southwest for tomorrow, making sense that whatever system is out here is going to be ripped apart by that strong southwesterly upper level wind shear for sure. And if we actually get some convection across Jamaica tomorrow, the high upper level winds, those strong upper level winds, are going to be ripped apart towards, well, are going to ripping the clouds off towards the northeast for sure. If we get some deep convection, bring us some upper level clouds. And if we take a look at the actual rainfall forecast maps now, this map from the Euro and this map from the GFS are both showing 8 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, which is actually 7 a.m. Jamaica time. And we see the blues represent rainfall across section of northern Jamaica, anywhere from Hanover eastward, St. James, Trelawney, St. Anne, St. Mary, Portland. And the thing is, don't look at this and say, oh, it's going to begin at 8 a.m. or 7 a.m. It's going to begin earlier than that, in the early morning hours for sure. Look out for that early morning rainfall on the north coast. We see that both the Euro and the GFS models are adamant about that. Then by 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, which is actually 2 p.m. Jamaica time, what do we see? We see that rainfall across section of some central and eastern parishes, maybe across the southwest too. We see St. Elizabeth highlighted there. The GFS showing something similar with the central and eastern parishes kind of pattern. We'll see it actually plays out. 2 p.m. That's the time. And whatever happens, I'll keep you posted. Even the total accumulated precipitation forecast maps from the Euro and the GFS right here, showing that it's going to be raining somewhere in Jamaica within the next 24 hours. The Euro going all the way up to 0.36 of an inch of rainfall out west. GFS going all the way up to at least 0.21 of an inch of rainfall out west. We'll see how it actually plays out, and whatever happens, we'll take it, because we're in the month of March. We're in the peak of our dry season. In Kingston, whose bar graph is being shown right here at the top, we usually receive up to 10 millimeters of rainfall for the month of March. In Montego Bay, whose bar graph is being shown right here at the bottom, we usually receive up to 2.2 inches of rainfall for the month of March. And I'd like for you to keep in mind that if you'd like to find out what your specific parish usually receives for the month of March in terms of rainfall, or for the entire year, you can visit weatherandclimate.com, and that website will show you that information. And you can use this nice graphic right here that converts rainfall from inches to millimeters. We know that 1 inch of rainfall is about the same as 25 millimeters of rainfall, so you can do the math yourself. Alright, so that's it for the forecast across Jamaica. Let us focus your attention on the rest of the Caribbean. So as stated, some clouds associated with that frontal system coming into portion of the northwestern Caribbean. Cuba, section of Belize, Guatemala definitely getting hit by some clouds, if not some isolated showers as we speak. So too sections of Colombia, Venezuela getting their usual thunderstorm activity. Section of Martinique, St. Lucia, St. Vincent and the Grenadines getting in on their fair share of isolated showers. Section of the Leeward Islands too. Trinidad and Tobago heat getting in on the action as well. And if we take a look at the Doppler radar imagery of the northeastern Caribbean, let's see what's happening over here. Let's reload the Doppler radar imagery. In the meantime, let's look at the Barbados radar. Not seeing much of anything across Barbados right now, but we do make out some rainfall to the north of Barbados, the blues into the greens into the yellows, moderate to heavy rainfall, some of the isolated showers to the west of St. Lucia, pushing towards the northeast into portion of Martinique. We see the heaviest of the rainfall right here to the north of Barbados. Let's see if we can find what's happening near Puerto Rico. We see some isolated shores to the south of Puerto Rico, to the north of Puerto Rico. Not seeing much of anything else here. Maybe some isolated shores to the north of Antigua and Barbuda. And we see that earlier today, section of central and southwestern Puerto Rico are definitely getting on their fair share of isolated shore activity. And if we take a look at the weather view of Doppler radar images, we can see the rainfall that is plaguing portions of northwestern Venezuela, section of Colombia, section of northwestern Honduras, section of Belize and northern Guatemala. And regarding where the rainfall is expected within the next 24 hours, both maps right here from the Euro and the GFS are showing that within the next 24 hours, the most rainfall should be plaguing section of southeastern Belize, section of eastern Guatemala, northwestern Honduras, section of Colombia, Venezuela as well. And we clearly see that both the Euro and the GFS models are adamant about that. We also see that rainfall is definitely going to be plaguing sections of the Bahamas, central to eastern Cuba, the Cayman Islands, Jamaica, Puerto Rico, the US and British Virgin Islands, section of the Leeward Islands, and even sections of Dominica, Martinique, St. Lucia, St. Vincent, as well as Barbados. And we can clearly see that both the Euro and the GFS models, even the ABC Islands being shown right here. And then that when they're in consensus like this, the chances of it actually happening are much higher. Alright, so that's it for today. Thanks for watching.